to Condeshirau Designs. Today we are going to be making a pumpkin votive on a glow-in-the-dark candlestick. Here are the supplies that we will need for today's project. We have black paint, glow-in-the-dark paint, rubbing alcohol, a candlestick, twine, varnish, 3 different sizes of ribbon, charms, these are wood charms, pumpkin votive, 2 different types of sponge brushes, a regular and a round, sandpaper, coarse and fine will be good for this project, scissors, pliers, crimping beads, jewelry wire. This one is 0.40 millimeters, a battery operated candle, a tape measure, a level, glue. I like to use the Glue Eat 6000, and black felt. Alright, first we are going to start by sanding our candlestick. I'm going to be using the coarse sandpaper first, and I know that this candlestick is a really nice white candlestick, but being that this is for Halloween, I kind of would like it to be black and have a little glow to it, so we're just gonna sand this down and get it ready for that black paint. Alright, now that we've used the coarse sandpaper to get most of that white paint off, I think it will be just fine at this point. Now I'm going to use the more fine sandpaper to just make sure that it's smooth and there aren't any little lumpy parts in it. Also, I did get this candlestick holder at Hobby Lobby. So if you're interested in this particular one, that is where I got this. But you can use any type of candlestick holder that you would like. It will be just fine. So we'll just sand this until it's smooth and we'll keep going. After sanding, you're going to want to take a cloth and get all that sanding dust off of your candlestick. Make sure you get into those little spaces. Just make sure you get all that sanding dust off of your candlestick. Also, at this point, you will want to check to make sure that your candlestick is level. I actually have done this already. I had to take it to another spot because unfortunately my table here is not level. So I had to take the candlestick to another area where I knew it was level. So I'm not too concerned about this candlestick as it is because this one is a very nice candlestick. So at this point, we are gonna just let that make sure that it's all ready. I'm gonna check it for any sanding dust. It seems really nice. So now we're gonna paint. First, we're going to use our black paint. The black paint that I am using today is a Crafter's Collection. It is from Hobby Lobby. And I'm going to put some black paint in my container here. And I'm going to take my sponge brush and I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm going to work my way up, trying to get into those little holes and spots, covering it nicely. You might have to do 2 coats. It just kind of depends on how you're feeling once you get the first coat done. But I like to just go around, starting at the bottom, and work my way. Once you have that first coat on, you're going to have to let that dry. I also forgot to say, make sure you have something down to protect your work table, whether it's some type of paper, a mat, something to protect it, okay? And then with this excess paint that I have, I'm going to just put that back into the paint container so we aren't wasting any of that paint. And we're gonna let that dry, and I'm gonna go clean up a little bit. I'll be back. I put our candlestick holder to the side because that paint really does need to dry all the way before we can put a second coat on it or move on. So in the meantime, we're gonna work on our pumpkin votive. The first thing we need to do is take this wire off. It is a little challenging. This is a very thick wire, so please be careful, but this is where you'll need your pliers and hold on to all this and twist it and twist it, and it will be loose enough to pop it, and just take that right on off. And you can use that wire for another craft project, or you can discard that. Next, we are going to wipe the votive down with some rubbing alcohol. You want to make sure that you are cleaning all of the votive, even the eyes, the nose, the mouth, underneath, the whole thing. I forgot a cloth. Let me go get a cloth. I grabbed just a cotton swab, and I'm going to take this rubbing alcohol, put it on my cotton pad, and I'm going to wipe this cute little pumpkin votive down, get all those oils off of it, get underneath, get those little black pieces off of there. I'm gonna do the rim too. I might even do a little bit of the inside because it's looking a little dirty there. All right. That looks good. There we go. All right, I'm gonna use that to kind of clean up what fell off. Wipe it a little more because I just put all my prints on it. Okay. And I'm going to put that to the side and let that dry as well. So the candlestick is still pretty wet, so we're just gonna let it keep drying. And in the meantime, we're gonna look at our charms that we want to put on this little pumpkin votive. Now these charms are wood. I did purchase these from Hobby Lobby as well. And I have gone and I've taken a small drill bit, like 1 millimeter drill bit, and drilled little tiny holes in it. I don't know if you can see them, but they're really tiny right at the top. So you don't have to use the wood charms. You could get charms that you would use for necklaces or earrings, those types of charms. You could use beads if you'd like. It's just to give a little decoration on the rim. You don't even have to do a charm. That is just totally up to you and what your thoughts might be on it. So now I'm gonna take this is jewelry making string, also purchased at Hobby Lobby. And I'm going to take a good piece of this, and this will be used to put this charm on our pumpkin votive. So I'm not really measuring, I'm just going to give myself a pretty good piece. Get my scissors out and cut that where I'd like it to be. work and put this back on here to keep my string in place. All right, so you're going to string this through the tiny hole. Oh, it can be hard sometimes. And then we're going to wrap this around our pumpkin votive. I'm liking it about right there. So I am going to place it there and wrap this around again just to make sure that it is secure on there. And I am liking it right like that. And that is where I will tie it off. Yeah, I used a little too much of my jewelry wire, but I'd rather have too much than too little. Now with this wire, I do want to bring it over here as close to where that charm will be, just so I cover that knot up once I get that on there with my charm. Okay, right there. Liking that. I'm going to give it a double knot, and then I'm going to cut that excess wire off. Perfect. Here's how our pumpkin votive is looking. Here's the charm. Now, you can use a crimping bead to get this a little tighter. I did not need the crimping bead to help me get it tight. It seems pretty tight as it is, so I'm very pleased with that. So we're going to put this aside and we're going to check our candlestick. It's pretty dry, but I am seeing some places that definitely need some extra paint. So we're going to go ahead and give this a second coat. That doesn't surprise me, being that the candlestick was white to begin with, and even though we did all that sanding, sometimes it just needs a second coat to make sure that we've got it all the way we want it. So here again, we're going to put some paint in our cup, and we're going to start at the bottom and just paint those spots again and make sure we cover up those white spots that are showing this time. And when we're done with this and it dries, we're going to distress it by sanding it again. And you might be saying, well, why are you painting it and getting all that off when you're going to be doing that? You know, it's just, I like to make sure that it's fully covered, because the distressing will just be an added bonus to it, and I just want the distressed look to be look natural in those spots. So go ahead and just give this a second coat of black paint. I do also want to get that top part, because some of this will show through with the votive and we want it to be looking really nice. And I'm even thinking, as you can tell, it's white in there. I didn't paint that the first time, but I'm going to take a smaller brush and get into that hole there. Okay, so I grabbed another brush and I'm gonna just get down in there and paint this all black as well. right, looks good. We need to let this dry again. All the way. While our candlestick is drying again, we're going to make the bow. So for our bow, you will need 3 different types of ribbon. I like to use the wired ribbon for my crafts. So these are the 3 that I chose out for this. This is when you will need your tape measure or a ruler, whatever works best for you. And you are going to cut a total of 6 ribbons, 2 of each design at 8 inches each one. So let me get that a little better in the frame. Move these up a little bit. Okay. So I'm gonna measure these out. Now, if they're not perfect, that's okay. It's a Halloween craft. So no worries. That one. This ribbon is a little more flimsy, but I do like it. It has the colors of the others in it, and I think that is really a nice touch, but it is definitely more flimsy than the other 2 ribbons that I chose. All right. Once we have those cut, we're just going to put our ribbons to the side and put our tape measure to the side. And let's put this ribbon bow together. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these pieces and I'm going to lay them out on my table in kind of like a fan pattern. I'm going to start with my 2, well, I'm going to go every other one actually. Let's go every other one. So I'm going to put these 2 together and then this. And I think I might go this way and do the same thing, making a type of fan. And you can move these around any way you would like to make it work for you. I'm going to leave that right there for a minute. While I do that, I'm going to take this chenille stem or a pipe cleaner and I'm going to cut it in half. And then I'm going to gather this up in the center, like so. And I'm going to push that all together, and then I'm going to start kind of moving my ribbon around, seeing where I really like it. And I'm going to take this chenille stem and I'm going to wrap it around. I'm going to make it as tight as possible and tie it really good. Now, you can also use a zip tie to do this. But just know that with the zip tie, this chunky piece right here is going to stick out, so you'll need to cover that. With a chenille stem, it just lays kind of flat and works really well for making this bow. Okay, so I'm going to cut that extra off. Put that aside, and I'm going to straighten these bow ribbon pieces out. All right, I'm liking that. Perfect. Then you have a bow for your candlestick. Once we have the bow the way we want our ribbon to be placed and it's looking really good, we're going to take the tips and we're going to give them a better look for our bow. So what you do is you fold it in half. Each ribbon you're going to do this to, and then from the tip on a diagonal you're going to cut it to give it that more decorative look. So you're going to do that on each one of these. Just diagonal from the tip. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this ribbon yet. I'm thinking about it. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to do all the others first and we'll make that decision. Here again, fan it out the way you would like it. Oh, I like it. That's good. Do the other side. Same way. Same way. Right. I like that. I think I'm gonna leave this one the way it is, maybe give it a little straighter look, but I kind of like it's already got a nice little shape to it, so I'm just gonna leave that one the way it is. And I'm gonna put that to the side. All right, our candlestick is getting there. But in order to do the distressed look with the sanding, it has to be dried all the way. So I recommend having this dry for at least 12 to 24 hours. So we're just gonna put that aside and let that just keep drying, and we will come back to that. While we are letting our candlestick holder dry, we're going to work on our pumpkin votive, which, just so you know, I did get this at the Dollar Tree. I know you can get them on Amazon as well, but that is where I purchased these. At this time, we're going to put our twine around the lip of our votive. So I take the twine and I just kind of leave it on. And I'm going to take a small dab of hot glue and I'm going to put it right at the back. gonna hold that for a minute. All right, once that dries, I'm gonna start making my way around the lip of the votive. Now, you gotta be careful around our cute little charm. And I'm gonna keep working my way. One thing that I do like to do, I like to use my E6000 glue for this. I think it just holds really well. So I put a little bit in my cup and I use a toothpick to put the glue on the votive to hold the twine. So I'll put a little glue over here. And then I will bring my twine around, holding it tight. I'm just gonna keep going around. I'm gonna put some more glue here. Hold it. And then work my way up and around the whole lip of the votive. Gluing every so often just to make sure that it will hold in place, making sure to go around our cute little charm there. You can use the hot glue gun for this the whole way. Just know that you might want a finger protector so you don't get burned by the hot glue. But it's definitely a way you can do it as well. Just keep going until it is all the way up on that lip and to where you like it. All right, and then I'm finishing right where I started off with it, right here in the back. And I'm gonna put another dab of hot glue right there, just to finish it, and hold it for a minute. Oh, I like. And then we're going to cut that off. Glue that little piece down. And there you have the twine rim of your pumpkin. Let's keep working on our pumpkin votive. The twine is dry now pretty good. So I think since we have to wait for the black candlestick to dry, let's paint our pumpkin's eyes, nose, and mouth with our glow-in-the-dark paint. Now, if you don't want your pumpkin to glow, that's okay. You don't have to do this part. You can skip this part. So you want to really shake your paint up. This is your glow-in-the-dark paint. I also purchased this from Hobby Lobby. I really like this because it dries clear. So you'll still be able to see the black of the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. And when we do the candlestick, you'll still be able to see that the candlestick is black during the daytime. So you'll just, at night, you'll put it under a light and set this off, and then your stuff will glow, and it's pretty dang cool. So we're gonna just put a little bit in here because we're just doing the eyes, nose, and mouth of our pumpkin right now. So I have a small paintbrush, and I'm just going to put this on the black part of our pumpkin. This will require 2 to 3 coats. Make sure you let it dry in between each coat. Just kind of smooth it out. Got a little glue there. We're gonna take off of there. All right, and just let this dry, and you will need to do this 2 more times, 1 or 2 more times. I recommend 2 more times to make sure that you get a nice coat on there. All right. All right, that first coat is dry with our glow-in-the-dark paint. So we're gonna start doing a second coat. Just do it the same way, right over the top of it. There's a little hair there. We want to get that off. You can see how that first coat has dried, so you can still see the black of the eyes and the nose and the mouth. Even putting 2 to 3 coats on, it will still dry to where you can see that it's a black face. After this second coat, once it's dry, I'm going to check it in the light and the darkness to see if it really needs a third coat. And I will show you how we'll do that once this is dry. Just make sure it's nice and smooth. Or maybe not, since it is Halloween. Alright, now we'll let that dry. So the second coat of glow-in-the-dark paint is dry. So now we're going to put it underneath our light. I have this light here. We're gonna charge this up. And then we'll go to a dark room and see how it works. All right, I think this is looking really good. I think 2 coats of paint, good enough. Let's start distressing our candlestick. So I did let this dry for over 12 hours, so it should be nice and ready. I'm going to take my fine sandpaper and I'm just going to start at the bottom, just rubbing some of this paint off, giving it that distressed look. There's lots of different ways you can distress wood, but this is the method that I have chosen for this project. Make sure you take your time and just really get it the way you want it to look with your distressing. I also put some saran wrap down on my work mat just for an easier cleanup. I'm liking how this is looking. I'm gonna kind of look around, see if there's anywhere else I might like a little more the distressed look. I'm not going to do this top part because the candle votive will be sitting on this and I really would like it to be all black. So I'm just going to leave that part. Okay, this is the way I would like mine to look now. So now I'm going to wipe it down with a cloth. We're going to put that aside for a minute. I went and got a paper towel so I can wipe off that excess sanding. We're going to see how this looks. Try to get all that sandpaper, sanding dust off your project. It will look better in the end. There you have it. Now I'm gonna clean up my workspace and I will be back. Now we're going to put our glow-in-the-dark paint on this candlestick. If you're not interested in the glow-in-the-dark, you can just leave it as is. At this point, that is just fine. This is the glow-in-the-dark paint that I purchased at Hobby Lobby. And we're just going to be using this. I'm going to put some into my little container here. I'm going to use my brush that has a flat edge. And I'm going to work here again from the bottom. And I'm just going to pat this on here. Working from the bottom and working to the top. Make sure you get into the creases. This particular candlestick does have those little bumps in it, which really gives it a really fun look to it. So just keep going all the way around the candlestick, just patting it on there. And just keep going all the way up to the top. As you're going along, you'll want to really get into these tighter spaces. Just make sure you're not leaving too much of gloppy paint on there. That will really make a difference when you go to activate the glow-in-the-dark paint. You want it to be even. But make sure you're getting into those crevices. Now here again, I'm not going to do the glow-in-the-dark paint on the very top. There's no reason to do that. Just right here on the lip. All right, we're gonna let that dry now for a little bit as we clean this up. Now that we've waited for a while, now we need to see if we're going to need any more glow-in-the-dark paint on it. So we're going to activate it. So I do that by just holding it under a light, or you can take it out into the sunlight, and let's go see how it looks. Okay, I held this under the light for about 30 seconds. I'm liking how it's looking. I think I'm gonna leave it with just one coat of the glow-in-the-dark paint, and now we need to gloss it. When I say gloss, I mean we need to put a varnish on it to make sure that this will stay good for many, many years. So I do like the Duraclear High Gloss, which is a varnish, and it doesn't yellow like some varnishes do. So I really like to use this one. So I'm gonna get my cup and pour some into my little cup. Get my brush. Here again, gonna start at the bottom and work my way up, getting all those spots that we want to get this varnish on. So the whole candlestick. Now it doesn't have to be a thick coat, just a thin coat, just to give it that protection. Here again, I'm not going to varnish the top. There's no reason to varnish the top since we'll have our votive on there. All right, now we need to let it dry. The varnish has dried, and now we need to glue our cute little votive on top. So what I like to do is find the direction that I want the votive and the candlestick to be facing. Before I do this, I like to put the votive on top to make sure it's just the way I'm gonna like it. All right. I use the E6000 glue. It does have a smell to it, so please use it in a well ventilated area because it is pretty strong. So I'm going to take the cap off and I'm going to put a generous amount of glue on here because we want it to hold really nicely. I'm going to take my votive and I'm just going to place it right on there. See how it looks on the inside, looking good. And we're just going to hold that for a few seconds and then we have to let this dry for a while. So now it has sat for a while. The votive seems to be pretty secure on here, but it does need to dry for at least 24 hours. So we're going to be very careful on our last couple of steps. So we're going to get our bow and we are going, I put Chanel stem through the middle here, and we're just going to wrap this around our votive and we're gonna twist it on there real good. I do like using Chanel stems instead of glue. I think it's better, especially if you have little ones or if you have pets. If this accidentally tips, and that bow will come right off if you've used glue. So I do like to use the Chanel stem. And then we're going to fix our bow to how we like it. All right. Now, you can always put a piece of felt on the bottom of your candlestick so it doesn't rub and make scratches on your furniture. So you would take your candlestick, you would draw a circle around on the felt and then cut it out and glue it on. I'm not going to do that. This candlestick has a very nice bottom on it, and I have no worries of that happening. Now the fun part. Our candle. So I use battery operated candles for this because the glue that we used is flammable. So you don't want to use a real candle in this votive. So I'm liking it. It's looking so good. So as a disclosure, this is just intended for battery operated candles. Using a real wick candle, it can be really dangerous, especially if you have little ones or pets. So real wick candles can cause burns, they can burn things, they can be pretty dangerous. So Condeshirau Designs is not responsible for any damage that could occur if you do decide to use a real wick candle. And there he is in the dark. Looks so good. Then you can put your candle in, and your candlestick is still glowing. Looks so good. All right, this will be such a fun addition for a Halloween party or just decorating your home for the season. Thank you for joining me today. If you like what you see, please hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon in the next video.